Many people around the world, and especially in Africa, live in desperate need of food, shelter, and other basics. And as South Africa commemorates Human Rights Month, we unpack some of the harsh realities facing the continent. And my guest tonight is the humanitarian, United Nations Goodwill Ambassador, and musical legend, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, also known as the Princess of Africa. And I'm happy to have you with us in the studio.
Thank you for having me, Tim. Thank you very much.
The issues are many that we should talk about, right? But it is appropriate that I wish you happy birthday.
Thank you. I feel like a dinosaur.
Feel like a dinosaur? Well, I still have got a few more years. There's still mileage in you. There's still a lot to be done.
Thank you very much.
Now, your music career is a stellar one, and that's what earned you the accolade of being Princess of Africa. Where was the name given, by the way? Was it Uganda?
Uganda.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just tell me a story around that.
Well, I went to Uganda. I was invited to actually go and fundraise for the people who were in exile to come back home.
Yes.
By a promoter called Mike Mukula. So when I got there, he said to me, there are people here from Entebbe to Kampala. They're waiting to see the princess. And I said to him, but now I come from Soweto.
Yes.
Who is this princess? We don't have princesses in the township. And so when I got there, I had these people with placards. We love you, Chaka Chaka. You are our princess. And so I want to say to the people of Uganda, webala nnyo, msibye abantu abarungi.
And then, as a result of being princess of the continent, I suppose international bodies like the United Nations and the other causes around the world felt like, why don't we get the princess to participate in some of the humanitarian work and goodwill work that you've been involved in? How many causes have you been involved with over the years?
I would really want to think maybe it was like that, because when I was invited in 2004, I was invited to represent South Africa in Gabon to go and perform. It was our 10th anniversary. So they had artists from all over Africa. And unfortunately, we spent 2 weeks in Gabon, just traveling around Gabon. When we came back, one of my musicians had contracted malaria, Phumzile Ntuli. And unfortunately, she succumbed to that and she passed on. It was in June. And in January, I get a call from Bushi and General Ngema and them. UNICEF is looking for you, to go to Ethiopia. And I'm like, for what? But cut the long story short, they were looking for this Yvonne Chaka Chaka to be a goodwill ambassador. I didn't know what it entails, what a goodwill ambassador is, and what do they do. But between June and January, I'd been just sitting on internet and checking, why did Phumzile die from malaria? What is this malaria? And when I realized that malaria was preventable, curable, yet so many people were dying, and I was ignorant as well. I had no clue. I thought, if I have to do anything, it will have to be about malaria. So for me, when Phumzile's death came, it was like a puzzle was coming together. When UNICEF asked me to be a goodwill ambassador, I told them the story of Phumzile. And I said, if I have to be educated about malaria and I'm able to go and educate other people, it will have to be a cause that I like, or a cause that I know, or a cause that...
And then you went on to do others, right?
And then I went to do others. TB, AIDS, malaria, nutrition, because you can imagine when people are hungry or when people are HIV positive or having TB, you can't give them medication in empty stomachs. People have to be given food with nutrients. And we've got land, we've got all sorts of things. We can encourage our people to eat from their backyards. And I don't see the reason why should our people go to bed without food.
But I suppose when you saw the damage, the whole thing of the cyclone Idai take place in Mozambique and Malawi and Zimbabwe, you could relate to that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been getting emails as it is. People are looking for malaria nets. They're just looking for things. And I think all interventions really are good if it comes to malaria, whether it's indoor residual spraying, whether people are taking their prophylaxis, whether it's malaria nets. So I got a call from some Rotary people, Steve and Janine. I've got a couple of nets, so I will be taking them. I've been getting calls from Mozambique. So if they've got transport, they can come and collect the nets.
But, which leads me to the whole thing of, celebrities being part of ambassadorship for humanitarian goodwill kind of things. Is it a good idea? I mean, that it appears, and I'm not criticizing anybody. If it helps the cause, then it's great. But is it a good idea that celebrities get involved in causes of this nature?
I want to think so for celebrities. I'm not a celebrity, Tim. I'm Temba Ningi Mfumu, and and Mantla's mother.
Yeah.
I'm just an ordinary person. I've been given this platform to perform, and these people are the ones who elevate me. So what better way for me to say thank you and to help where I can? So that's what I do. I don't take myself as a celebrity. Whether I've dined with Queen Elizabeth, with Oprah, or with Bill Gates, I am not a celebrity. What is there for me, for people to celebrate me? But for me to go out and say thank you to those people, it's because they've bought my records, they've given me this platform, and they've elevated me. This is how I take it.
Well, you've walked the path, right? And therefore you've earned the stripes to say what you've just said, that you are not a celebrity, and you can, and I mean this respectfully, you can afford to tell me that, right? But there are many younger people who are working very hard on becoming celebrities. So what is your advice to them, or your word to them? Because there are many people who may be troubled by the fact that they are not recognized as celebrities. What's your take?
Well, I think people in their small corners, people do good. For me, those are the people who need to be celebrated. Those are the people, an unsung hero, a woman in Soweto or Lega Minga or Lega Shilubane or wherever, who is doing things for her community. That, to me, it's a person who needs to be known as a celebrity. Not those who work very hard to be known, and when they're known, they put glasses and people do not recognize them. That is not, for me, it's, but you have to have what it takes. You have to love doing what you're doing it. You don't have to expect fame to make you who you are. You have to always be yourself, have your feet firm on the ground, respect your art, and then people will elevate you, and then you will be celebrated.
Now, earlier you said you are becoming a dinosaur now, and I said, what do you mean by that? When there's still so much to be done. I noticed that you will be working on a new television series, Gianni. Right?
Yes.
Tell me more about it. Well, what's going on with the television story?
Turning 54, for me, it's a privilege. As a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, as a NEPAD Goodwill Ambassador, I travel to different places in Africa and all over the world, and I see children die before they're 2 years old, before the age of 5. So for me to be 54, it's not a given. It's a privilege, and I have to respect that and not take it for granted. And I want to thank my Creator, really, because I'm not sick, I'm healthy, I'm happy, and I'm doing everything.
So, the story of TV, very briefly.
The story, I want to say thank you to Chedza Production, who wrote the story. And I've been married for 30 years. And and now here am I, doing this television.
Yeah.
It's just amazing that we're now beginning to respect and acknowledge our indigenous languages. And thank you to SABC and all those people who've really seen it on the 1st of April.
1st of April?
Yes.
So we just okay. Well, we will be checking Makoti of Gianni, starring in the television series Gianni, and everything of the best to you. Much appreciated. Thank you for having been our guest. We appreciate it. Well, that's our show for tonight, and news is next. Remember, tomorrow morning we'll be looking at the forthcoming elections from the perspective of the IEC and how SARS can be repaired with Professor Dennis Davis. That's on the Modise Network, 9 a.m. here on ENCA. Good night to you. News is next.